How's it going, Wilhelm? Good to have you.
It's going fine. It's dark here in Austria. I think in your country it's still sun is shining,
It's
huh?
just starting. We're at like not
Oh,
quite noon, so yeah, we got a whole day over again. Do over. So, Raphael, you brought us Wilhelm, and so I know that you'd seen some work he did. Why don't you also help me introduce what you know how you found Wilhelm also?
Yes, well, actually, the first time I heard about Wilhelm, and we realized this yesterday on the German show we did, is that I had heard at some point about some dehydration free energy, quote unquote, technology or environmental energy technology, however you want to call it. And then actually last week, I just got a call from a friend who's a doctor, where part of the, I want to say journey, but part of the promotional tour that Wilhelm is doing right now for the idea of free energy is also being hosted. And she just said, well, why don't you guys, do some PR? And I was like, sure, that's a great topic. And anyhow, I had heard something about it. And anyhow, I know all of you, Andreas, and all of you, how would you call it, real science guys. So I was like, let's do some technology and knowledge transfer and, bridge the gap, however you want to call it. So here we are.
That's epic. So, Wilhelm, what is it? What is exactly? So, dehydration free energy, is that a good way to describe it, or what is the thing? And also, you can just start telling us about stuff.
yeah. So basically, I found out a new principle of generator, which using which using the space energy in this is the very important stuff, and which is using also the specific Earth energy, which get produced by hydrogen in the core, in the Earth. So my theory is that in the middle of the Earth there is a lot of hydrogen, and this hydrogen have a specific kind of frequency, of course, but also a specific kind of field. So the planet have a specific kind of field which is running on the frequency of hydrogen, but it is not electromagnetic. And this is the new thing. It is not an electromagnetic field. And the thing is, I'm using this field to 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 receive it and to power in the first place a generator, and then the space energy come in, and the space energy does how you say in English, does multiply the energy which come out. You see, so I'm dealing with a field which come out from the system, which is right hand polarized, and this moves, and this brings the water in the moisture, as in the wall, to move downwards. You see, and by doing this, I'm using two different kind of energies: one from the Earth and one from the cosmos, from the cosmic. So it's the space energy, zero point energy. There are thousands of names. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this in short.
Wow. So this is interesting on so many levels. So you're saying that it's not an electric field, but what kind of field is this atomic energy field that you're saying?
It is, I call it gravomagnetic, because there is a magnetic component, a magnetic wave, and surrounding the magnetic wave, there is a gravitational wave. You have a picture? You can think with it. So it's similar to electromagnetic wave, similar, but it does not have um, the electric wave. It is not the same like that.
Is
And
it
the
missing
cloud,
polarity or what's the that's interesting.
maybe we find it in our website,
Yeah,
in
let's
the
go back
Austrian
to
Association of Website.
the oevr.at. This
Yes,
is it? Cool.
yes. So look, we go down to technologies.
Okay. Right here.
Yes, we go down to technologies. So, and now then we put up, scroll down, Aquapol. There is one blog called Aquapol here.
Aquapol International. Okay.
Yes, Aquapol. So now we go down, down, down. So here you see the unit. You see, you see the Aquapol unit. Here you see the unit in the middle, and with these different kinds of energy input. The green one is from the Earth, and the blue one is from the space. And the whole system is, and the gray one is the field which is affecting the moisture in the wall. You see what I mean?
And this produces this toroidal work
Yes.
field?
Yes, exactly. It looks like in the praxis.
Wow.
So, and when you move down a little more, because I know there is a graphic inside, go a little down. There, yes, here. Open this energy physics maps, this folder. Go down. Here you have, yes, go up again. Up again. Here. So here you have the hypothesis. It's an hypothesis, okay? The hypothesis says that in the middle of our planet, there is hydrogen, white hydrogen, not green, white, pure hydrogen. There is a lot of symptoms of manifestations which proves it, that in the middle, that from the Earth come a lot of hydrogen out, you see? So, and move forwards, because there is forwards.
Like up, you mean, like this way or further?
No, downstairs, because we want to find the I want to show you the field. So here, stop. So here on the left side, you have a structure of electromagnetic field, electromagnetic wave. You have the magnetic component. Go up again. You have the magnetic component in blue, and you have the red one is the electric component. And this kind of wave you can call circulate polarized, okay? Circulation, because they do a circulation. Yeah, it's not linear polarized, it's circular polarized, okay? So, and then go down, a little down. So we are very close. No, sorry, we missed it. We go up a little, please. Go up a little. A little on the right side, just looking. Here, yes, here on the right side. So this is my postulated gravomagnetic field, a gravomagnetic wave. You see the blue one? This is also a magnetic wave. And you see the brown one, this is a gravitational wave component. So, and it looks like, because of my 3 antennas, I constructed 3 different antennas, which working exactly with this kind of waves. And the gravitational wave is very, very fast. It looks like 6 times, 8 times faster than light. Because when you think when the magnetic wave is light speed or below light speed, then you have 6 times, 8 times more speed for the gravitational wave. You see?
This is interesting because a lot of people say they don't believe in gravity or they want to reframe gravity. I'm going with the reframe. I like what you're doing here. What do you think gravity is then?
Gravity is basically the difference between the space energy when it comes from one side of the Earth, running through the Earth, get a little smaller in the force, and come out weaker on the other side. We can look at the at these pictures. Go back, go a little back, more at the beginning, because maybe there is a gravitation. There is a description of a gravitation. No. We stay on this. No, it could also go into it. This is good. The power of the universe.
Power of the Universe folder. Sorry, I jumped up by accident when I refresh.
Yeah. This the power of the universe.
Force of the Universe. Okay.
20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years Aquapon. And we moved down. Next. I wrote this before 15 years ago.
This looks great. I gotta get this in English. I'll translate it later, and I'll.
Yeah, sorry, Anthony. It's
No. We'll use this is what AI is for. Don't worry.
Yeah. But I have very nice graphics.
Oh, there we go.
This is not that. This is the. No, it's not. Go down. So here's basically the first thing I tell it.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah. So there's the space energy connecting. So here. So make it bigger.
Yeah.
Make it a little bigger.
See what I can do here. All right.
Yeah, okay. So down you see how gravity get caused. You have always from all sides coming in the space energy from all sides. Okay, with a vector. You can see it as a vector. Basically, you can see it as a vector with 1,000 energy units. And on the other side, it comes out with 994 units because the mass of the Earth takes something of this space energy. And on the opposite side, it's the same, 1,000 in, 996 out. So there is a difference. This difference is about 6 units. That means this difference is the vector of it push it down to the Earth. So the gravitation basically is a force which pushing you down on the Earth because of the difference of input and output space energy. Very simple. It's also mentioned by Dr. Nieper before some 20 or 30 years ago. He had the same idea. So this is gravitation. But this is a static phenomenon, right? This is not dynamic. This is more static.
Right.
And my gravomagnetic waves, these are dynamic waves, like electromagnetic. It's dynamic. Yeah, you see here three different dynamic spectrums, which get caused by space energy and by mass. The first is gravomagnetism. This is my energy, which I'm using. Other one is electromagnetism. And the third one is electrogravitation. Yeah, those are three different things. So here I have electromagnetic wave. The new thing is what I postulated is that the X is, how you say it, is space energy which is fixed, which has now a function to carry the wave. You see? This is the only difference to the physics. It's an addition.
And so you talk about the tachyon component a bit. So what is it that you're describing tachyons as?
Yeah,
as well?
tachyons. At that time when I wrote that, I talk about tachyons because this is very, very high frequency waves. It works in every 6 different directions. It has no mass. It penetrates mass very easily. And yes, so these are the main definitions of space energy, basically. And I call it tachyons, but it is not the same. Tachyon is basically a virtual energy which is used by some other physicians. So I changed it to space energy.
It's an interesting usage. One of the thoughts I had is you think about speed of light, and there's been some discussion about the idea of string theory that maybe things aren't so much traveling, but vibration between on a string. Like this is a connected. These spaces are connected. They're not really moving, but vibration might be moving along them. So a tachyon might describe the dual coexistence and dual location of space, but the energy differentiation while that space riding along from one part of that space to another part of that space.
Yeah, yeah.
So these could be instant, right?
Yeah.
This is very interesting. And so what's this part here?
Yeah, so this part describes my generator.
Okay.
You see in the bottom this green stuff, right? So this is the Earth field which get putting into the antenna, receiving antenna.
Wow, it's like a volcano.
Receiving antenna. Yeah. I have a receiving antenna that's green. So and this energy, this gravitomagnetic energy with the frequency of hydrogen, because this is exactly what it is. It is only the frequency of hydrogen. And this energy gets moving up to this brown. It is called Umlenkspule. Maybe you can do it a little bigger.
I'll see what I can do. Let me try to zoom in here.
Yeah, try it.
And just because you said Umlenkspule, umlenken is like reversing, no? Umdrehen,
yes,
oder just
reversing. Or you also can say a polarization coil.
All right, I just mentioned it because in Star Trek they always say reverse polarity. So sorry.
Yeah. Do they in German? Do they say Umlenkspule? Because like they could. That'd be better. Because it's a spool, you know. We can in English you can say spool as well, but it's two O's.
Spool, a coil, coil. So polarization. There is a polarization coil, and the energy which come up in green get polarized by this so-called polarization coil. It is get polarized right circulated. You see, or left circulated. I can change it. I can change that. So and then the upper antennas, they put out this energy polarized already, and that's it.
And then so this is kind of like a microwave, but safer and not designed to cook food. But what does it do? It's kind of changing the energy, right?
Yes.
It's like a healthy microwave. That's a really brilliant idea.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff. Yeah. It is interesting stuff. It is. You have it. We have the noun. Du musst mir ein bisschen helfen, Raphael.
Raphael,
hörst du mich?
Yes. We're here. Translation service active.
Wie sagt man zu Ort der Kraft auf Englisch?
Zu was nochmal? Orto?
Zu einem Ort der Kraft.
Oh, like a place of power?
Or a place of power. It's on a place of power you find a high intensity of this kind of energy.
Or like a power spot, like spiritual place or something like that.
Place, exactly. All churches in Europe get built up, get built up on these places, you see. And so there is a lot of power.
There's some interesting things about that. So at one point I got to visit a number of the chakra points on Earth because, California, we have the root chakra, which, I mean, on one hand, I'm flattered. On the other hand, it makes a lot of sense. It explains a lot about California. Yeah. But the sacral chakras in Titicaca, the heart chakras in Glastonbury, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, these places happen to be also where some lost civilization. Titicaca's got this giant sun city right there with all these temples that we're not sure how they built with these giant stones. Mm-hmm. And each one of these places is, Glastonbury, there's like a nuclear power plant that they were trying to stop from being built in the 70s. Mount Shasta, you've got all these crazy elite there. So I kind of wonder about this idea that maybe there is energy in these places, right? That maybe this is some sort of a former energy spot.
And I want to point out again, Campbell of Autodidactic recently did this great interview with Dr. Sam of the Bosnian pyramids, and also Dr. Sam says that they measured some, and now it would be interesting to know, Wilhelm, how they could measure this, but he claims that they measured some sort of scalar wave coming out of the top of one of those pyramids and actually being kind of drawn into the direction of the sun, or like following the direction of the sun. So this ray is tracing the sun, it seems. Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting. So, but on to a bit more of your work, Wilhelm. I'm curious because, I mean, this is not that different than how Apple built, a Wi-Fi modem. This is not that different from how Casio built a microwave, but you're not using it to transmit data, and you're not using it to cook popcorn. So you said this is for a building, right? Is that kind of, or what is the usage? What were you thinking about using this for initially, and what did you decide to use it for?
Yeah, you can imagine that this water molecule, specifically hydrogen atom, they have a known spin.
Right.
Spinning, right? The whole time they're spinning. So the Earth field, the hydrogen Earth field, turns this. It's a hypothesis, okay?
Right.
So
but this is fair.
Yeah, exactly. This turns the spin right side, right clock. Yeah.
So you're nudging the hydrogen, and you're forcing it to change its spin. You're repolarizing hydrogen.
Okay. Yes. I'm changing the spin basically.
You're but it was naturally spinning. You just nudged it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. This is one of the hypotheses which is which I'm using, you see?
Right. This is interesting because, I mean, basically all the building blocks of the sp2 orbitals, for instance, how things are bonded. This is very interesting. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I'm using in the opposite way, that means when I'm using a left side polarization, it does exactly the opposite. So what means that? I'm moving up moisture in an agricultural field from the soil up to the surface.
Right.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, of course. So it's kind of like water and oil in a cup almost. You're changing the density by changing the electromagnetic spin. That's interesting.
Exactly. But that's not electromagnetic. It's gravomagnetic.
Okay. This is interesting, right? I mean, this is good because so many people want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. NASA has done a great job. If anything, they've done a great job of making people not believe in space, not believe in science, not believe in gravity of any kind. So it's really, I think, important what do we do? Just throw away all the words, or do we find out what they could actually mean? Because there's got to be something actually going on if we're able to harness these forces.
Mm-hmm.
So you're raising the moisture up, and what is that? What is the benefit of bringing the moisture up?
No, that means that the roots of the plants got the moisture from the soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to use water, a lot of water, which was verdunsten, Raphael?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. When the aggregate changes from water to steam, what do you call that?
Yeah,
precipitation, evaporation.
Evaporation. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of the water which you're using to give the plants, you see, a lot of
irrigation,
a very paper, exactly. And when I'm using this technology, it does not waste so much water because just only the moisture from the bottom, from the soil, come up, and the roots get the soil, and so the plants growing better and better, the fruits get bigger and bigger. So we had in Israel a pilot project 3 years long, and basically it acknowledged exactly that what I say now. Yeah, so we get more fruits,
Everybody's talking about hydrogenated water. You can spend $5 on a half a liter bottle of hydrogenated water. So I get the feeling you're onto something if they're branding it. Do you think that this is the exciting of the electron spin in hydrogen, or what is it? Do you think it's affecting the quality of the water and the quality of the plants? Does this do anything better for it, perhaps?
Yes, we do some experiments in laboratory. Professor Lotz do a lot of experiments, and he found out that there are some changes happened with the water. That means, for instance, pH. The pH goes a little up. The microsiemens, the Leitfähigkeit, I don't know the English
conductivity
name.
And just so we don't skip over it, go back a bit, Andreas, because there was his the honorings he received, because it's quite interesting that in 1990 there's like newspaper articles, and in 1995 he even received some kind of an official medal. Maybe Wilhelm, you can explain this. And it's not about being so great, but it's just relevant that there was a time even in the 90s when even the Austrian government or scientists
recognize the value for agriculture here, right? Yeah.
Also, yes, it was a part of it, right?
Yeah, this could be really huge. I mean, you have to imagine in the 90s, before the completion of a lot of the European Union, Austria was actually still trying to become an agricultural.
That's a good point.
Do you remember? Do you remember? God, it's all the good days. Well, I mean, so in other words, you tapped into something that's pretty important, because the idea, I mean, obviously they're selling water bottles to celebrities that are using this technology. That's how you know you did right.
Yeah.
But so what is you said that they did some scientific tests on the water, right?
Yeah. Momentum. Maybe we found this paper. This paper is Professor Lott's research. Is a research.
Is it on this page, or should I look?
It's also on this blog. Just a moment. Give me a little time.
No problem.
This, the next one.
Okay.
Move downwards. No, not this.
Research.
Yes, here.
There you go, Ernst Lotz. There you go.
Yes, Professor Lotz. He was a great guy. He was Professor Lotz was one of the pioneers in Germany for Baubiologie, building biologist.
Oh, okay.
Building biologist, yeah. And he did a lot of measurements. So move downwards a little. Yeah, he is
one of my best friends, Ryan Lotz, actually. We call him Ryan.
Yeah.
Professor
Lotz. So now another is so up again. So, and his interest was he want to know if there are some other parameters get changed by aquaball. And you see here these three different kinds of colors, right? You have this dark blue. This is the space where the system works. You have this hell blue. This is the energy from the bottom, and you have this red one. This is the energy from the space. And he said, if you are right, Mr. Mohorn, we should measure different kind of qualities and quantities of different kinds of parameters. So, and now moves down. And exactly that moves down again. He measured now the ions. You understand ions? Negative ions, positive ions. You understand that?
Yes, yeah. I mean, to an extent. Well, actually, would you like to describe ions more for people? So ions are the atom or molecule with a net charge, right? So once a charge has been gained, so it's got more charge than it's got a spare charge, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah. Okay. I tell sometimes people what it means when a system, when you have more negative ions, that means you feel more fresh air, like in a forest, like close to a waterfall.
And just to mention, that's also exactly what Dr. Sam with the Bosnian Pyramid says he measured. That they had this very high negative ion concentration. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I remember on that he spoke about that.
I
Yeah,
think people people will go to school and they say, well, I learned about it, and they don't really want to think about it anymore. But yeah, even if you just remember as a child playing with magnets and that feeling where you put magnets against each other and the ions are pushing against each other, that is a pretty good way to understand the feeling itself.
yes, yeah, exactly. The power, yes. So, and now we move a little downwards. So, and you have here on the right side, here below, make it bigger. So, and here you see following. He measures the negative ions, and he found out that in the blue space where the system is working, the negative ions get higher, 17 percentages. So it gets a better air. Where the space energy comes into from above, he had about 36 percentages more negative ions. And below, where the energy from the Earth comes in, there is a minus 11%. You see that?
Right.
So, and basically that acknowledge that these are three different kinds of spaces, which are around of the aquapole system, which have different kinds of functions and so on. You see?
And yeah, it's kind of like a feedback loop, because once it starts off, then other atoms are going to orient themselves in the system.
Exactly.
Wow.
So this is one of the parameter which he found out, and there's I think 6 or 7 other parameters which are get mentioned in this journal, in this research journal from Professor Lotz. You see? So this is one of it. The next is radioactivity. There is also very interesting stuff. The gamma striatum, they get reduced by the system. We don't know why. We don't have any clue why it does it, but we just measure it. You see what I mean?
No clue? You don't have like a wild idea? I mean, it seems like the energy is being channeled, right? So if it's all being moved, then it's going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then the next is radioactivity, go down, a little down more, gamma striatum, get reduced a little, down. This is the chapter of the gamma striatum. So now we come to the surface, Oberflächenspannung in German, in English, surface voltage or things like that. So that get also reduced, yeah, on the water, yeah. Is also a phenomena. It's also one of the parameters which changed through the aquapole system. The next.
Interesting. I wonder why that's happening.
Yeah, we don't know. The next is with the tensiometer. This is this tensiometer. This is this instrument where you can measure it, right? The Oberflächenspannung, the surface
tension, yeah.
Tension, the surface tension, exactly. Yeah. So he did that all in experiments, all in laboratories. Yeah, this was his work in the laboratories, and he do a lot of experiments, and he was very funny and very happy to see these changes. And then also this pH.
Right.
pH.
So it's alkalizing the water, you're saying? It raised the pH?
Go down. Go down. And you see it? It raised the pH.
Wow.
You see?
Which should be very useful for keeping you healthy and
exactly
moving other things from your water.
This is maybe this is the reason why a lot of customers tell us after some weeks or some months, they tell us we feel better. Our health is a little better. We sleep better. We feel better. So it could be, I'm not sure, but it could be that this has an influence to the people.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, alkalization. That's a huge issue because so many people just focus on acidic
Yeah,
foods and drinks.
exactly. Ja, genau, saure Grundlagen, genau. So,
Mhm.
dann ist the next is the electrical, specific electrical Leitfähigkeit,
Conductivity.
conductivity.
Electrical conductivity.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So he did also some measurement on that point. You see always the measurement tools, and then you see also the changes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So it increased in conductivity. First it goes down and goes back up, or
yeah. The first thing goes down and then it goes up.
wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's side effects. We call it side effects.
Well, it's like it's removing something that's been inhibiting it. Like it killed something, and then everything starts to thrive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Also, because probably higher conductivity water would generally also be healthy, at least in some regards, no? Of course, not a medical statement, but that could also contribute to people feeling better, no?
Well, the idea
Yeah.
that it's killing parasites in the water or
Right.
something even weirder, who knows? But that's definitely something to consider because cleaner water tends to be healthy. I think. No doctor
Mhm.
again.
Mhm. So the next is the Earth's magnetic field. There's also some change.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it is. It looks like it get more homogenized. You understand that?
Homogenous.
Homogenized, yeah.
Homogenized. Sorry, my English is not
No,
very
that was. I love how the words can work together. We figured it out.
good.
I feel like that's kind of scary, right? So, in other words, if we're not using this and we're using some other thing that is very similar, like these AI 5G antennas, or who knows, something that's doing the opposite effect, that it could really mess with, tides. Who knows? Something that could cause storms. It could be like real problems if this wasn't used. And here you're saying this could be used to keep it in balance, right? This is
Mhm.
reminding me of the idea of the pyramids and these ideas of that these ancient chakra points were used not only
Mhm.
for energy but to keep the weather in balance and the environment in balance.
Yes, could be. Yeah, that could be a purpose of it. Yeah. So yeah, so these are this. I think these are the most of it. We have it. We have it already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the laboratory measurement things.
Wow, that's amazing. So this is a product that's existed and you guys are selling this. So people are using this. Like what kind of this is you said businesses use this a lot, like agriculture?
The most people are private peoples.
Yeah.
We have about 46,000 units all over the world in 40 countries all over the world. So on this since 1984.
Wow. And how does this scale? So can you get something really small? Can you get something really big?
Yeah, we have three scales. A small one, which is like what? Maybe we have a picture. Let's check. Let's check in the thing again. Just a moment.
No problem. I see.
Mhm. Here's the small one, right? What you see on the ceiling here. This is a smaller one.
This thing right here? That
Yes.
little beige box? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is about in the diameter. It's about 25 centimeters. In inch, it is about I think 10 inch about, no?
Wow.
In the diameter.
And do you have to use electricity? How do you plug this
No,
in?
there's no electricity. They're
Wow.
only using these two kinds of energies, which you see downstairs, a little down. Yeah, here.
The
That's all.
toroidal.
That's all. So it's autonomous. It's totally energy autark, right?
And you put this in the ground or above the ground, or how close do you put this to where you want to
On the
affect?
ceiling. I always put it
On
on
the
the
ceiling.
ceiling because I need a 2 meter minimum, a 2 meter high, so that the system can catch a lot of this green energy here. You see, I need this, otherwise it does not work.
Wow.
When I put it on the bottom, like on the bottom, it does not work. If I put it 2 meter highs or 3 meter highs on the ceiling, it does work.
So it needs that field. Wow.
Yeah, I need this green field, otherwise it does not work.
This is interesting. So what do you think the future is for this technology? Do you think that everyone should be using this basically, right?
Yeah, of course, if somebody have a problem with moisture in the wall, or have troubles with the moistures in the agricultural fields, this is the right technology to help them.
Can you use it on like a skyscraper? Let's say you got a tall building, you know,
No.
can you do it floor for floor? It has to be on like a single store kind of small area.
No. It's only made for old buildings, very old buildings, and the unit should
It's made
be
to
on the lowest place, on the
Interesting,
lowest
right?
place. Basement, you see, basement. In New York, we installed a lot of units in New York, in basements of
Right.
of high scrapers. Yeah.
That's really
maybe Andreas, you want to mention what you think about that? Because Wilhelm only through us got introduced to the whole Tartaria thing, and how, I don't know, how could this whole thing relate?
Oh,
I mean,
there's
it's kind of
so
interesting.
many angles to go on that. But for one thing, when you talk about basements, this is crazy. Buildings, let me look at a picture for you. These buildings have such ornate qualities that sometimes we wonder, is it just some fairy tale, or did they really use this technology? Did they use this building, this architecture with some technology in it? And the idea that some of these buildings were built far deeper than we realize. Perhaps they were built underground, or that the levels have been risen of the ground, which it looks like in a lot of parts of the world that the levels have risen. Maybe these areas at some point they were using this technology all the time, or something like this technology was already discovered and used. That's, I guess, kind of what Raf is saying. Is that what you mean, Raf?
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence of things that we think of as just ornate that probably aren't just ornate in these buildings, that probably served a function or a purpose.
Exactly. It's like, even Wilhelm, from an engineering standpoint, is the question: would I make something so extravagant and exquisite if it
And
wouldn't
not
also have
come up
some
with
function?
excuse for why, right? A functional point. And the idea that these windows are dealing with resonance patterns. When you play a climatic tone on a subwoofer and you get the powder into this perfect shape, right? The climatic patterns, you can match up climatic pattern. Let me see if I can show you. These patterns which emerge, you can match them up with stained glass windows, and that way you know which tone to play, right? It's like a way of tuning your organ. So there's a lot of interesting things we don't look deep enough into. It's not just that it's ornate, it's that they've understood it as being a practical use of technology. They're going into these cathedrals to get healed, right? So you play a healing frequency and tone, and then it's a hospital at that point.
Even supposedly, according to some measurements, also the water quality changes if it's put into a church. So again, the question is, there maybe some larger structure at work, in terms of the building, the material, the geometry, because also you are basically only working with material with a certain shape, but you have no moving parts, so this maybe could have some type of similar functions, many of these or some of these old buildings.
Interesting. Do you know this Japanese guy, this Japanese science, which frozen water and
Masaru Emoto,
Right,
Animoto, exactly. You know this guy, right?
Right, and we've had a few people on this show who've done freezing experiments, some with more success than others. I think most of the people have a problem hating rice or hating water. It's really difficult to instill hate in something for most people, unless they're, you just have to like get on a telemarketer call and then get off and hold that bottle of water. That's the only thing you can do. Just be like, try to hold it while you're angry throughout your day, probably. But you can, if one were so inclined, I think one could do it.
Oh, beautiful.
The Antiquitech is a big idea for Tartaria. The idea that all of this stuff, we have this ancient technology, and that a lot of these buildings were using EMF technology, and that perhaps they were also trying to keep the weather in check, because it seems like there's a lot of natural disasters that come around the same time as the fall of civilization. And is it just that they couldn't handle these natural disasters, or is it that these natural disasters occurred because they no longer had the ley line system that was channeling the energy and keeping energy in certain areas, right? Which is what we're at now. I mean, regardless of whether that's the past, you look at geoengineering today, and
Yeah,
geoengineering is
engineering. Yes, it's a very famous stuff
oh my god, I love it.
which I'm also using in my journey. Yeah.
Fox and CNN and people they're starting to talk about, oh yeah, now we can put chemtrails right on the backs of planes, and
Yay.
not a new thing, but we can do way more than ever before. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so we're living in a world that's doing this, and then they've got the very low frequency belt, which are tachyons, which are being bounced in the above the ionosphere. So we're creating this field, and we're acknowledging it. Everyone's aware, not everyone, but we should be aware of the very low frequency belt, the VLF band. There you go. Popular mechanics, nature. So people talk about it. So this is all out there. This information exists, and people could look into it if they wanted to. I think people are just kind of afraid of it, and so they kind of ignore it. And then you've got all these people doing it for more evil purposes. Like, what if we could desertify a really expensive place so we can buy it in 20 years cheaper? Or what if, we've already bought a desert, so let's turn that into green. It seems like it's all a money-making scheme to monopolize the control, not to harmonize the weather.
Yeah, exactly. Or causing earthquakes, tsunamis, and all this stuff, right?
Do you think that if you have your technology, is there a way that we could protect ourselves from can we build a new system, or could simultaneously interrupt their system?
No. Because this is another kind of energy. They are using, you tell it already, they are using electromagnetic energy,
right?
Or Tesla waves, maybe Tesla waves. But this is another energy spectrum which I cannot influence, really.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be more and more prevalent as time goes on.
Yeah,
that's wild. Well, so then the other thing is, what can we do? What do you think are the places that we can really make an impact to keep the environment healthy, safe? What are the things that we can be doing?
What we can doing? The only thing, what I think is to help the people to use free energy technologies like the Rossi generator, which come very soon on the market. I don't know if you know this technology from Andrea Rossi.
Yeah,
are you famous with it? In Leonardo Corporation in Miami.
Right. Yeah, we've seen some things about it. I have not gotten to experience it. I've seen videos.
Yeah. This is, from my viewpoint, the biggest at the moment, the biggest hope for the mankind, because they can buy very cheap these energy generators. They are very small, 7 to 7 centimeter, 9 centimeter high. So it's a very small thing, and it produces 100 watt. And you can have it in DC, you can have it in EC, and if you need 500 watt, you have 5 of these pieces. You have 5 of these generators, and that's it. You see?
Scale.
And this is and it's all very cheap. He always wants $259 US dollars per piece. So it's a very cheap technology which could help a lot of people to get more and more free by disconnecting more and more for the electricity network. And you see what I mean?
Do you think there's going to be something that comes along? I mean, at a certain point, if we're all off the grid and we're all creating more and more field, do you think that producing that much electromagnetic field, or that much field in general, electric field, dielectric field, will cause damage to the environment? I mean, we're talking about putting so much energy out there, aren't we? Or are we just channeling energy that's already there? Could this be dangerous?
Raphael, ich habe das jetzt nicht ganz verstanden.
Ja, also simpel gefragt, ob das auch gefährlich sein könnte, wenn man diese Art von Energie so, I think, Andreas, you're also referring to if we were to switch over to a different type of energy harvesting system, if that on a large scale would be dangerous, right? That's your question.
Yeah, both.
Like
I'm
these kind of
curious if you
systems.
think that the fact that we're messing with electricity at all, I mean, is that dangerous? And then
Ja.
also, and then the second part, like if we switch over
Also
to a energy system. But yeah.
ja, also Gefahren, die du siehst mit dem aktuellen Stromnetz, aber auch wenn man jetzt viele von deiner Art Energie verwenden würde, ob's da Gefahren geben könnte oder potenzielle Probleme, auf die man achten muss.
If you use gravomagnetic fields like we use, if the intensity is too high, then it affects also the body negative. You see? So there is always a barrier. There's always a border where you can use this kind of energies, which is okay biological, and if it's go up from this line, it goes more and more dangerous because it's like microwave. Yeah, if the microwave is too strong, it can kill you. It's like a military weapon, right? You know that.
Right. But there's all this free energy that exists, and we could move to a more natural source. I mean, there's essentially atomic energy that's clean, natural, and exists everywhere, right? I mean, I remember hydrogen fuel cells out of Austria and Germany in the 70s were a major thing that engineers were killed over, and oil companies were trying to say, "Oh God, you can't touch an atom because it's just so dangerous," right? So maybe this is the future, is we just need to find a way to use atomic energy in a safer way. And I like this. I like the idea also of redefining gravity, because as I said, we're so often trying to throw away words because they don't fit into our contemporaneous rubric. So it's useful. It's very useful to have a good use of that term. Let me also pull up again where they can get more of your information. So if they go to oevr.at, you can get to the website and you can read a lot of this stuff. Is there anything else you want to make sure I pull?
You can also partly read it in English. There is also some parts translated already in English.
Nice. Yeah, and if you click up here, I've got a little button, English button, and it'll
exactly.
doubly translate. Is this the best way to reach out to you guys? Service, events, and contact? Is there anything else you want to make sure I can link them to?
Here you have Rossi. You have already Rossi here.
Yeah.
With this blue, very, very little blue box. And from my viewpoint, is not really dangerous. He using a nickel, 5 gram nickel, 1 gram lithium, and maybe some other stuff. Yeah. And he has to change that material after about, he says, 100,000 hours. That means 11.5 years. So it's a long time. Yes. Wow. And he can change it. He can change it, and then it runs again. And he also measures the radioactivity, because the most people think, okay, it is some cold fusion technology or things like that, but it's not. It's not. Yeah. So there is producing no radioactivity. He is measuring it with the Müller-Geiger-Zähler, you know?
Geiger counter. Yeah.
Yeah. Geiger-Müller-Zähler, Geiger counter. So, and you can see there is no change. There's not really a change. So
I feel like Americans ought to call it a geigometer, but I don't think they do. But whatever.
Mm-hmm. So here are the examples. It gives here some examples how to use it. Here you have this live stream.
And this is interesting, yeah. I mean, if anyone's interested in free energy, and we'll get Bernie and the Real Science crew to look into the Rossi motors, or the Rossi generator, Strom generator soon. I think this is important stuff. And it's not expensive. Like you said, it's a couple $100. So it's something that a person or a team of people could experiment with instead of just a $1 billion corporation.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is really a beautiful technology which everybody can use when he has a flat or a little home or a little house. You see, it is so easy to apply it. And
Epic. Well, that's amazing. I appreciate your time being here and sharing this with us. Raf, is there anything else you also want to make sure that we cover?
No, I think we're good. We focus on the free energy tech. I hope some of the real science guys will check out this stuff, and because
we'll get you back with Wilhelm. Let's get you back with the real science crew at some point so they can cross-examine, like Jeremy Reese and Jeremiah the technician. They do a lot of free energy research, so it'd be good to have you there.
Yes, perfect.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. We'll see you next time.
Okay, Andreas. Do well.
Auf Wiedersehen.
This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Exators. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Recent Tartarians.
Она образует всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, the skin's beautiful. Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown.
Что касается энергии наномер, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз. 10 в 74 степени.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With the arms now. That's it. That's it.
Thank you for watching Exators. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Exators.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.